Hello all, my name is Dr. Rajendra Babu, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Library and Information Science, Tumkur University, Tumkur. I'm here to speak to you on referencing, citation and reference management used for research and research writing. In this particular context, I'm speaking to all of you on the occasion of 10th multidisciplinary STC program on MOOCs, Massive Open Access Open Online Courses. Its creation of e-content and OERs organized by the IQAC department, Government First Aid College, Krishnarajapuram and Bangalore. I also thank all the organizers for giving me this opportunity to come and talk to you, and special thanks to Dr. Patil for this opportunity. Moving further, I will be talking on scholarly writing, referencing, citation, reference management, and a bit of demo of reference management software, and I conclude my talk with that. So, scholarly writing. Before we move on to anything else, I just wanted to give you a brief of how the scholarly communication at all, scholarly writing itself has started. So, we all know Royal Society of London, which has started in the year 1662, and the first journal called Philosophical Transactions of Royal Society was, and there were two journals started. The first journal is Journal de Scavens, and the second journal is Philosophical Transactions of Royal Society. The journal was started in the year 1665. So the editor of the journal was Henry Oldenburg. So he is the one who has started research writing and research journal in the beginning, and he is also considered to be the father of peer review process, which we will discuss later. So scholarly writing is also known as academic writing, research reporting, research writing, discourse communication, and many more to now call technical writing, sometimes techno-scholarly writing. There are many names to scholarly writing. So it is the scholarly writing, the purpose is to convey the research results, formal style, in the formal style or in the formal languages. Means, the language should be known to everybody, and it should have a specific style. Like it is also the conversion of authors' ideas or insights into a piece of writing for the benefit of the public. It's called as public good out of the research. So they should get benefited out of the research. So there is a definition given by Johann Neem, an American historian at Western Washington University. He says scholarly writing is a basic research in the arts and science, is the source of wisdom. That's where you do research and it's a source of wisdom. Yet this wisdom needs to be shared in the form of scholarly writing for the benefit of many people, who will be benefited from this scholarly writing. So this is what the scholarly writing. So there is a difference between scholarly writing and popular writing. So scholarly writing contains, author's credentials, means where is he coming from, what topic he is working on, what research he is working on, where is he good at, what subject he is good at, all those things. Whereas in popular writing, author may not be named, or author may not be important. So he can be a professional writer or a journalist who publishes a wide variety of topics. Sometimes he may have a subject knowledge, or sometimes he may lack subject knowledge. In most of the cases, it is lacking the subject knowledge. Then comes in scholarly writing, scholars, researchers, students are involved. They are the audience. Whereas in popular writing, it is general public. Similarly, sources cited in the footnotes or in the bibliography is very important. Sometimes in popular writing, there may be sources cited, or sometimes they may not, source they may not tell you the sources at all. So peer review, the scholarly writing is examined by someone, validated by someone, whereas not the same case in popular writing. But editor will be, going through that for the corrections, if anything. So usually published by scholarly writing, usually published by scholarly publishers, but here nothing of that sort in the popular writing. So scholarly writing, the channels of scholarly writings are formats are books, scholarly journals, articles, whereas popular writing can be magazines, websites, and newspapers. So scholarly writing is more of a serious and research in nature, and it is aimed for researchers and serious reading purpose. Whereas scholarly, popular writing is for pleasure or for casual reading or for some kind of a information gathering reading, not that serious of scholarly writing all about. So peer review system, as I said, Henry Oldenburg is to be considered as the father of peer review system. It is the system used to assess the quality of the work or quality of the manuscript before it get published in a journal or a book. Mostly the peer review is more predominant in journal system. So the concept was first started by Henry Oldenburg, as I said, in the year 1665, and it is the second oldest journal even existing today. It's called as Philosophical Transactions of Royal Society of London. So in this context, more of the independent researchers, write their articles and somebody validates it from the publisher side or from the journal side, or editor himself sometimes might validate it. So it is validation to find out originality of the work, validity of the work, and significance, importance of the work, important of the work for the benefit of publishing in the journal. So that's what peer review system is. So it has been in existence since almost 350 years. So it is there to select the good science, means good research, good articles to be published for the public good. So this process of peer reviewing benefit entire scientific community because it's a serious community. There are many types to scholarly peer review. The first one is single blind peer review, where you submit an article, the editor will assign that article to some author, where author knows who is the author, editor or reviewer knows who is the author, editor reviewer knows me, but I don't know who is the reviewer is called single peer review, blind review. Double blind review is author doesn't know who is the reviewer doesn't know who is the author, so nobody knows anybody, but the review system happens. Triple blind review here is both author and reviewer doesn't know who has written and who is reviewing. At the same time, editor himself also will be not in picture. So it is called triple blind peer review. And new system of review has come up called open peer review, where I write an article, I submit it to the journal. Journal enables, or the publisher enables that article for open review. Anybody can come and review that article and can give their comments. That is all open peer review. This has been predominant now, and this has been increasing nowadays. So peer review process. So first process is author submits an article. That takes normally after submitting an article 1 to 2 weeks, it will be reviewers are assigned, or they will be tracking. That process will take 2 to 3 weeks. Then reviewers gives their comments for the article which they have been reviewed. It may be single review, double blind review, or triple blind review, or open review also. So reviewers review the article and give the comments. That takes 3 to 6 weeks. Then once the reviews have come, our journal system will means they'll finalize it, and detailed questions are developed for the reviewers, and that will also take 6 to 7 weeks to get the opinions from the reviewers. Then author revises the manuscript. Once the reviewer comes back with their comments for the improvement, so author will be notified about the changes to be done. So then author does all these changes suggested. So accordingly, once you do all the changes and submit, there is no guarantee that article would get accepted. Even after you working many weeks for improving the article, still the editor or reviewer has a chance to select it or reject it, the article based on their requirements. Then, so this is again then we will come to the most important point of the talk is references, referencing, how referencing is being done and what involves referencing. There was some issues in the computer. So reference is a practice of acknowledging, because when you are creating a MOOCs, or when somebody creating any kind of a content, it is very important for anybody to refer, or anybody to acknowledge the ideas being taken by somebody else. So it is very important, practice of acknowledging authors. It is known as referencing. So Evans in the year 1995 defines referencing as the labeling of material you have drawn, means I have drawn from other writers with enough information for the reader to be able to locate the source. So I have taken some ideas from some author, so I have to acknowledge it, so that if somebody else is reading my article, they should be, if they want to see the source article which I have referred, they should be able to go back with the enough information which I should be giving in the form of reference. So it is required if if I have taken somebody's quotes, or if I have used somebody's figures, tables, structures, or I have paraphrased something, means converted their ideas into my ideas, and it's a brief account of someone else's ideas. So I have taken somebody else's ideas and I have used for myself. Then why we need to referencing? Why do we need to? What's the importance of referencing? So the first importance is it shows the breadth of your research, means how the research has in that particular area is spread across, so that you take the references from there and how it is being spread, so that I can use it. If somebody wants to go further and backwards for finding the reference, they should be able to do it. Then strengthening the academic argument. So they should have some argument, they have some ideas come out with, so that should be substantiated with the referencing of somebody else's work also. And it is for showing the reader the source of the information, where the source of information is found, and allowing the reader to consult sources independently without any difficulty. They should be able to use the sources what I have given for the benefit of their further research or studies. So it's very important for anybody to have that. Then allowing the reader to verify my data, where I have taken the data, or to avoid plagiarism, to completing their work. If they are stuck somewhere, they should be able to do it. They should correct their work based on the previous studies and prior studies, and whatever the arguments or whatever hypothesis they are putting forth, that has to be supported with proper arguments by the prior studies or literature which has been already published. So there are two types of referencing. One is in-text referencing. So we'll discuss that when I go to reference demo of the Zotero. In-text referencing is I'm writing a text. So I'm within the text, I'm citing somebody else's name, saying that I have used this. That is called in-text. Inside the text, I'm using some reference. Is called as in-text reference. Then comes end-text reference. End-text means whatever I have used in text here, the same thing, that complete bibliographical details will be available at the end of the work which I have done. So these two are very important for us to identify. One is in text, means within the text what I am quoting. Same text full reference will be there at the end, called end text reference. Then what are all the types of referencing? So there are many types of referencing, as I said, in text and end text. See, you can see here Stein 2018 is he has studied some Alzheimer's disease for somebody else. So that is, he has given reference here saying that he has taken, this is called in-text reference. So within the text he has given reference to substantiate his argument or his idea put forth. The second one is, now again there are single author, there are two authors. So you have given in many styles. There are around 378 reference styles available in the world. One of them is APA and other things. We'll discuss that later. So this is these two are considered as in text, inside the text. So this is short form is in text. Then comes end text. So this is end text reference, where I use this reference for giving full details. I given only name and year there. Here I am giving complete details. The author name is Bagilius. In the year 1998, January 19, he has published his article. The title of the article is Aping Language. The journal or the magazine name is Newsweek, volume 131, page number 56 to 58. Similarly, here you can see, so there are a lot of ways. This is the end text reference, the example of end text reference. So what's the difference between referencing and citations? Because citation and referencing, most of the times words used interchanged. So here the difference is there's not much difference. References are something I use for reading something and quoting in my article. For example, I have an author called Mr. X. So he has written an article on study of human behavior. So he has written on Mr. X written an article on human behavior. I am writing an article on human communication. So I use Mr. X's article on human behavior, and I complete my article, and I provide in-text reference to that human behavior. At the end, I'll also quote him as Mr. X, in the year 2020, written an article on human behavior in a psychology journal. So that's a reference for me. Same reference will be a citation for Mr. X. So it is a cite. I have used it and I have acknowledged it. That acknowledgement is considered as a citation. Means somebody like Rajendra Babu used Mr. X's article to write some other article. For me, it's a reference. For an author, it's a citation. So somebody reads my article and writes their own articles. So he acknowledges both Rajendra Babu and Mr. X. So those two are references for somebody else, but they are citations for me and Mr. X. That's the difference between citation and references. Whereas there is one more word which is very, very popular called bibliography. Normally, bibliography in library science, all of you know, called as list of books or list of references. So sometimes I have written an article on human behavior. I have read some 20 articles. I have referred them. So all that I have given as an acknowledgement as a part of references, and it becomes a citation for somebody else. But I also feel that a new user who is reading my article can go to some other list of books which I have not consulted, but important list of books if I give at the end of the references as a bibliography. So it can act as books to read for the author, for somebody else, for some other purpose, is what bibliography is. There is a minute difference between these things. We need to understand it very clearly. So this is the difference which I have discussed. So then we'll move on to the next one. So there are, as I said, there are 378 referencing styles available in the world. So there are many referencing styles like APA style, MLA style, Harvard, Chicago. Normally APA style is used for library science and social sciences, normally predominantly, and Chicago style is used for most of the times science writing, and MLA style is for mostly modern language association is the expansion of that, mostly for all language purpose, referencing they use. Here is the small detail about this. Harvard style is the Harvard University style. They apply, it is also called parenthetical referencing. Within the parenthesis, the references are given. That's the reason it is called as parenthetical references. Started in 1881. American Psychological Association, which we use mostly, all the library sciences, people use, is started in 1929. MLA citation style started in 1951. Chicago, one of the oldest, started in 1906, and Vancouver style started in 1978. There are many more. Just in the for the benefit of users, I have given few, but many can be used. Many styles for many purposes. So this is what styles of references available for us. Then I have said you the difference between reference and citation. Why I'm stressing on more this, because you create MOOCs, you do a lot of things, but a lot of things attracts a lot of plagiarism because of proper acknowledgement, proper improper acknowledgement of references. It catches a lot of plagiarism, which is going to be a serious issue which is already a burning issue in our field of study. Then forward and backward citation. This is something, very important one, though it is not relevant to the topic, but it's very important for me to explain to you. Forward citation and backward citation. As I said, for example, I written an article. I have used 20 references for writing my article. So for me, that's a present citation. But I have somebody else have read my article and cited in their article. That is called forward citation. Means the citation moves forwards. Similarly, for me, what I have written for the previous author is references is backward citations. Means the citations so far is backward. Citations comes for my article in future is called forward citation. Then origin of citation and citation index. As I said, Eugene Garfield is the father of citation indexing in the world. In the first slide itself, I have given his picture. He is the father of citations. Here he gave the details. He is the one who has started ISI, Institute for Scientific Information, Philadelphia, America, in the year 1956. So he has started citation index, like importance of author. He is the one who has started impact factor, citation index, science citation index, social science citation index, and humanities index. So all these things are published under the banner of ISI, Institute for Scientific Information, Philadelphia, United States of America. So he is the one who has started citation indexes and started gauging the author value or author measurement or author importance. If I'm writing an article, if 100 people are reading, so that means my article is good, means that I'm a good researcher. In India, we can say C.N.R. Rao. He is one of the advanced material scientists in chemistry, where his etching test is more than 700 plus, where he is the prolific author in that particular field. So his articles are read by thousands of people to create their own articles. So he gets a lot of forward citations and backward citations for his work. So to find out the author productivity, author value, author's author's works importance, Eugene Garfield has created citation indexing. So under each 3 citation databases are being published. Today, ISI has been taken over by Thomson Reuters. Thomson Reuters have been taken over by Clarivate Analytics. Today, you can see Web of Science and all those citation databases are being published by Clarivate Analytics. Here, if I written an article, it will give you the complete network of my articles, where it is moving towards, what trend it is moving, what subject. Sometimes subjects other than my LibreScience, people are acknowledging me or giving references or citations or being get. That means my subject's importance not only in my subject, in other subjects also. So that shows the importance of my subject. So that it will also give you the network. If you have access to Web of Science or Scopus, you will be able to map the whole picture of citation index. So citation, what is a citation? It is the way to tell readers certain ideas, concept taken from some other source. It is a reference. As I said, there is a little bit difference, a small line, thin line between these two. It gives readers the information necessary to find the source, which is including author, title, name and location of the company, who is publishing it, date of publishing, page numbers of the materials. So it's a reference. As I said, for an author, it's a reference. For the original author, it's a citation. So is how we give credit to those individuals whom are organizations or corporate authors, from whose work we borrow the information. So when we use individuals or organizations' ideas, words, artworks, anything else, music, or any concepts, so we are giving credit to them, saying that thank you. So the thank you in the form of a reference. For me, it's a reference. For them, it's a citation. It also provides interested readers with the specifics, details like author, what magazine, what issue, what volume, what page number, and what is the DOI. All the details are sometimes URL link. So this will help readers to have the information they need to retrieve the source if they wanted to, And this is mainly recent phenomena is called plagiarism. So this proper citing will reduce the problems of plagiarism, because plagiarism is going to be a serious issue today and future. So here, when to cite, when I need to cite. So whenever I borrow words, or whenever I need to acknowledge someone, I need to cite them. So whenever we paraphrase somebody's original text, but remember, we are not supposed to paraphrase, or we are not supposed to convert even a single word from the quotes, quotations. But other concepts we can write on our own, what we have understood from the original concept. Still, you have to acknowledge them. So whenever we use an idea, or whenever we make specific reference to somebody's work, so that's where you need to really, for example, I can say Isaac Newton has invented something. So we should not only say, we should also cite to that particular work created by Isaac Newton. That's called a reference for us. So it can be through in-text and also in-text reference. So whenever somebody else's work has been critical in developing my own ideas, I have used many ideas from others to create my own, though it's original for me, but I should acknowledge the original sources whom I have used for developing my idea. Then comes reference management. So now you have understood the references, you have understood citation. How to manage these things? Because we all know, everybody knows value of referencing and citation. But when it comes to rendering the references, we do a lot of mistakes. Even though we are specialists in library science, people are specialists in these style guides, we also do make a lot of things. I have written an article in Indian Journal of Library Association, Journal of Indian Library Association, for false rendering of references. One may go and access that, of the thesis, library science thesis published out of Karnataka universities. So it is, citing relevant works is a very integral part of any scholarly work, because it will also give you forward and backward. It's very important scholarly, because we want to see where the trend is moving towards, or where the trend has originated from. So it includes collecting, reading, integrating the references into and arranging the references at the end of the manuscripts and within the manuscripts. The whole process is called as reference management, and it is very tedious and time consuming by many people. Then these reference management tools comes into their rescue in the form of reference management software. They will help you to, help means authors to collect, organize, use bibliographic references or citations for proper rendering, so that the future authors, it is easy for them to find the works, and also it is proper citations will be given to the original authors, or borrowed, ideas borrowed authors. The term citation manager, software is used interchangeably. You can use citation manager, or bibliographic management, or open citation management tool, bibliographic management tool, or reference management tool. These can be used interchangeably, similar words. Moving further, the functions of a reference management tool. There are many functions. One is retrieval of references from the sources. So it is an automatic process, but we need to know how to retrieve that, because it has to be stored in a proper standard way for benefit of the users. Storing and organizing those references, what we retrieve, and generating citations and bibliographics in the preferred style. Some journal may want, APA style, or some journal may want, Chicago style. Somebody may have their own custom styles. Your system should be able to create that according to the preferred styles. So that's what the benefit of having a reference management tool in place. And easily converting styles. I have created my article in APA style and submitted to one journal. The article has been rejected. So I can convert, the other article is not looking for APA style. The other article is looking for Harvard style. So I should be able to convert all the references into Harvard and send it across to them. This is the boon of having a reference management tool. So it makes your life so much easy for you to do that. Especially MOOCs are considered to be future education materials. It is very important for us to give proper referencing for the benefit of students to go further and backward. to get the sources information, because in 1 hour or 2 hours MOOC video will not be able to tell complete details. So that if you give proper referencing using reference management tools, it's easier for the users to go forward and backward, or go forth and back. So there are web-based reference management tools also available. It can be used across multiple devices. You can use it from laptop, desktop, or mobile talk, palm talks, mobile, anything. You can use these reference management tools. So these are the functions of reference management tool, as I said before. So it has, it collects, it imports. This the best option is importing, because it is according to the standard way. So all the things can be imported. It can be, citations can be imported from websites, databases, and various host of documents, and organizing citations, according to the styles, allowing annotation of citations, means noting that and creating importance for that citations, generating bibliographics at the end for the future use, formatting citations, sharing references managers across the databases. I may have Mendeley, somebody has Zotero, somebody has ReferenceWorks. So I should be able to transfer the data seamlessly without any difficulty, which is possible using reference management software. So format provides grammar suggestions. Advanced versions are also having grammar suggestions, because grammar also plays a very important role within the citation. If it is not done properly, it's going to be a problem future. And detects unintentional plagiarism. If you are not aware of some plagiarisms, it detects and suggests you ways and means. That's what advanced reference management tools does. So sometimes they are web-based for easier collaboration, and multiple devices, multiple languages, multiple platforms can be used for reference management. So who are all the users of reference management software? The first and foremost are authors, those who write, those who publish, then students, because they do a lot of projects and project works, dissertations, research, thesis, development, all that. Then teachers who teach and also create a lot of class notes. They also need to be aware of these reference. They must aware of reference management tools. Scientists, writers, publishers. It is very important for everybody to have a complete understanding of reference management software. They are considered as users of reference management software. Then benefits of reference management software. So it eliminates errors, it saves time, because if I have to convert that manually to automatic, manually, it takes a lot of time and I might miss out many things. My reference is there in text, but I may not have it in end text, or I have in in the end text, but it's not there in text. So that confusion and that clarity will not be, that difficulty will not arise if you use reference management software suitably. And it helps writing practice of the authors, and it helps following the writing practice. Keep the data, whatever reference data or reference citation data or references data we have, it organizes in a proper order, maintains consistency in formatting, 100% accuracy is assured. This is a slide I have taken from Good Films, who are one of the content writing companies. Their ideas I have borrowed from them. I have given suitable references. So these are all the softwares, reference management softwares available in the world today. Predominantly, all of us use open source, because most of us are from academic institutions. Only corporate institutions might go for commercial softwares. There are host of open source softwares. I have only listed few. There are hundreds of open source softwares available for you. The first and foremost is Mendeley. Mendeley have because Mendeley is both open source as well as commercial, so it has got a lot of features. World's best open source software. Next, second best is Zotero, JobRef, Decor. At the end, I'm showing a small demo of Zotero also. JobRef, Decor, Bibliographer, RefBase, BibFlix, BibCop, Bibop, BibBase, BibDesk, BibMe. These are all the open source databases. Gives us the help, supports us in proper reference management. Commercial ones are Biblioscope, EndNote, and Mendeley. Mendeley is again by elsewhere. MS Word. MS Word also acts as a reference database, if it is used properly. Paperline, Reference Manager, one of the earliest reference softwares are reference management softwares are Reference Manager, RefWorks, started in somewhere in Reference Manager started somewhere in 1995, 98. The earliest ones are these RefWorks, RefMe, SciRef. These are all the softwares, both free and open source software for anybody to benefit. So anybody want to install this and use it, any open source software, you yourself can do it. There are a lot of YouTube videos available for you to, you can say dummies in Zotero or beginners in Zotero. Search for that, you'll get complete, A to Z details and learning details of these sources. With that, we'll move on to Zotero. I have taken Zotero because I have been using this since many years, and many of us are using it. It is considered as one of the best reference management open source softwares which can work from laptops, iPods, smartphone, etc. And not only stores and organizes bibliographic information, but also allows us to tag and search information easily. We use this tag facility in say YouTube, Facebook and all, where there's a good reference, I can tag that reference to some good researcher in that particular area. That allows, and it makes the entire process of creating reference simple and easy. I'll show you how easy it looks. And it has got a key features like bibliography creation, data storage, reference libraries. You can create different libraries for different articles and different things. You can share your collection with any other database or any other software, texting citation, collaboration, importing and exporting of references. We can import and export references. We can do within Zotero or within Mendeley. You can do a web search. If it is connected, your system is connected to internet, you can, from your database itself, you can do the search and select the articles for your studies. So with this, I'll just take you to Zotero demo. This is not comprehensive. Just to get a small understanding about Zotero, I'm doing this. You can go to YouTube. You can find out there are hundreds of videos, very detailed videos available on Zotero. It is very important for us, for those who are creating MOOCs or those who would like to work on MOOCs. It's very important for us to have these sources to be very effective in sharing our information. So Zotero can be downloaded from zotero.org. It is open source. If you click on this, there are a few hundreds of MBs will be downloaded, and it is very self-explanatory and is self-driven. You just keep on clicking next. It will finish and it will get installed. Then this is how the page of Zotero looks like. I'm sharing my screen with you for the betterment of Zotero. For example, this is a screen of Zotero where this shows very clear view. Like this is a Zotero console where I have created, you can click on this, you can create new collection. For example, I want to create MOOCs database. So I'm working on MOOCs project. So I created MOOCs. Whenever I want to download something on MOOCs, I can download here by creating this. There are many types. New item I can create within this. It can be a book, it can be a section, book section, it can be a document, journal article, newspaper article, link to file, or a copy of the file. Say, for example, store a copy of file. For example, I have this, introduction to SMAC in social media. If I say, okay, it is coming from my own, C drive, and it will be selected here. Once it is selected, you can see in the right side, the complete details of that will be provided here. What is the title of that article? It's a journal article. Who is the author? If abstract is not there, I can add abstract, or I can copy paste. I can say scientific journal. All that volume, issue, everything is available here. So without my intervention, just on click, it has given me so much detailed information. That's what the advantage of Zotero. For example, I am going to search something in an internet. So I have searched, this is my article published in Library Philosophy and Practice. So I want to add this article onto my Zotero page. So how do I do that? I want to add my article to one journal. So I have searched for this journal, for example, Graduate Institute of Geneva. This is a web page. I want to add this web page to my Zotero. See, if I installed Zotero, you can see in the right side corner, there is a box. Now, next to your picture, save to Zotero. Just click on this. You don't need to do anything. I can select what article. I just created MOOCs. So I have or I can say my article on RFID, or I'll just refresh it so that we'll get into MOOCs also. So here I'm clicking it. So it is saving onto MOOCs automatically because I have selected MOOCs in my Zotero page. So it is impact metrics. Let us see. Let us see, going back to Zotero. I'm going back to Zotero page to show my whether it is saved or not. So you can see libmetrics. So the details are web page, libguide. It has been, abstract is libguides. It has automatically taken. If you want, you can change the abstract of typing whatever you want. And this has been done here. So these two articles are being downloaded into my MOOCs folder. Very simple operation. Please, listen to very carefully. Now I am writing an article. I am, sharing one article screen for you. I'm writing an article. This is a web article. Article created using Word. So here, for using this concept, I have borrowed a concept from some other author. How do I cite? So I have to create a in-text citation here. I go to Zotero. It is Zotero plugin has been already installed onto my Word. I can click here, and there are 5 options coming: add citation, citation, add edit bibliography, document preferences, refresh, and unlink citations. So if I click on add citation, it will ask me what style you want. There are many unserved styles are available, or you can add some more styles if you want. So I say APA style because I'm a library science graduate. So that is done. Now if I click again on add citation, a small console will open. So if I click on classic view, this view will be shown my Zotero view. I am going to MOOCs. In this, I am selecting libguides and say OK. So if I select, it automatically selects this, and it is highlighted also. So that's the advantage of this. I don't need to type anything. This is no date is available for this article, so it is considered. Or I can change the date to 1999 also. Manually also I can edit this. So now the in-text citation is done. I want to give second citation to in-text citation to some other data here. So what I do is I go again here. I have already selected one. There is another waiting. So I say introduction to SMAC. So Alphausen 2015 has been selected. Now 2 in-text citations have been created, but at the end I have not created references. So now I have created list of references. I go here, add edit bibliography. Click on this. It automatically does it. It automatically does it. Author, all the styles will be followed. Second author, alphabetical arrangement, one indent for 7th edition. You keep adding as many in-text citations. Now it is automatically takes. For example, I'll add one more in-text citation here from some other field. So development of open access journals. So I selected one more here by this author. It is not author, it is journal corporate author is been given here. Whatever it is been given, it will be taken care of. Now I remove this. Now the third one is being given, journal of PLOS. So this is a so simple operation. There are 3 in-text references, 1, 2, and 3 in-text references. At the end also we have 3 end text references, 3. So why you can change document preferences if you want, or you have closed it and opened it again, the Word file, you can click on refresh. It will take any refreshing changes are there, it will do the changes. If you want in different styles, it will create in different styles. Then when you are submitting this article to a journal, so you don't want this to be coming to the publisher's mind. You can just say unlinked citations. That means this highlighting will not be coming. So there will be a linkage. Now we have removed and created the complete list. Now this article is ready for submission. So that's the advantage of Zotero. So very small, simple, but very effective way of saving your database, saving your references. So these are all references for me, my article. For Alphonson, this is a citation for him. This is a citation for him. So moving on, so you can go to YouTube or any other. No, you can Zotero also have a lot of videos for you to work on this better, because India has two problems according to there is a survey conducted by one of the world organization. Now, what are the biggest problems faced by world? So, like many people have said, terrorism, globalization, all that, pollution and education, malnutrition, all that. But in two major problems have evolved. The first one is education, and the second one is declining ethics in the world. So declining ethics also forms part of plagiarism, forms as a part of that second problem. So let's not get into that. Let's do proper citation. Let's acknowledge proper citations to be covered, not to be covered in plagiarism checking. With that, I'll move on to the PowerPoint presentation to continue with. So this is what you have seen the screen. This is complete library of yours. This is the citation of particular work. This has got the complete details. You can go here, edit it. If you are not satisfied with the details, you can edit it. So if the date is not mentioned in a proper order, it will not be covered. You have to say year, month, date, and also you have to say what year, so that it will be properly giving in in-text citations. Then, to conclude, citing sources is an academic convention. It is very important. It's a rule of the academic writing. Keeping track of what sources influencing my research and my thinking. So once if it is influenced, I have to acknowledge that in a suitable manner, and citing will help us. Referencing is part of scholarly communication right from the beginning of science communication, and citation increases the value of research work. If more citations are there, more value for the research. That's where the fundamental basis for citation index. And it also helps to understand the trend of the subject, where it is moving towards, what areas the research is moving towards. And it also helps finding out the research. Proper and smart researchers will go to citation databases to take one key article and find out what are all the other articles cited them, and see what direction it is moving towards. For example, we have chemistry, we have something called citation, take a library science example. We have something called digital library. Somebody has written one article on digital library. Somebody from RFID are quoting that article. That means how the citations are happening towards, where is it moving towards, that the researcher direction will be found from this. Then proper acknowledging will help us to get rid of plagiarism. That's very important for us, because today you are a librarian or a teacher or someone. Tomorrow, who knows, you might become a big professor or a university vice chancellor or a big decision maker or Government of India science and technology advisor. Then if you encounter these plagiarism problems, there is a serious problem for your job and for your image. So it's better, let's counter them now itself. And reference management software tools have made the process of referencing very easy and reduces complexities, helps the researchers to track their research, refer their research, get the better citations, and reduce the plagiarism. With that, I conclude my talk, and I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on referencing, citation, and reference management. Within the limited time, it is not easy for covering everything. So that's why I've given snippets of not even 0.001% I've covered. Probably if somebody wants, they can move further to different sources like Zotero website or YouTube, or you can citation indexes, all those places to find out more information and get the gathering. So if you have any questions, please shoot it to me. I'll be happier to answer them at the later intervals. Thank you. Have a nice time.